All right, let's look at the Cal Bears, a 4th seed in the South region, taking on 13 seed Hawaii in the first round. That's Friday in Spokane. As we look at the tail of the tape, Rainbow Warriors have 27 wins this season, but they're 0-2 against teams with a top 50 RPI. Cal with an RPI of 16, 8-8 record against top 50 teams. As we welcome back Roxy Bernstein and Kerry Keating, the former Santa Clara head coach. Thanks for coming in, Coach.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so we just heard Feinstein rip the selection committee. You guys were not happy with his opinions over Oregon. We'll get to that. But first, did they get it right?
Well, they're never ever going to get it right. They're going to do what they think is right and then leave it to us to dissect it. One thing that we talked about is this committee is of 10 people that have other jobs to do. And those are big-time jobs. Joe Castiglione, the committee chairman, he's got to run the OU athletic department in Oklahoma. That's a full-time job. So when you're dedicating that much time to that and this, something's bound to get lost in translation. And when you have 10 people sequestered, bickering at each other about this team, that team, sometimes you need an outside person to take a look and say, hey, wait a minute. And that doesn't always happen that way, and it may be time for that now.
Some things they did get right, Kelly, but some they were way off. For example, Tulsa has no business being in the tournament. And I know there's some people feel Michigan, I didn't think Michigan deserved to be in. There's some teams that got left out who had great seasons. For example, St. Mary's. St. Mary's goes 27-5. They beat Gonzaga twice in the regular season. Now, the message was, I think, delivered from the committee that they need to schedule better. And I understand what they're saying. I don't agree with it. But I can understand. And San Diego State's another team that probably deserved to be in the field.
Okay, why don't you agree? And I'll go to you, Coach. Shouldn't St. Mary's help their own cause, schedule tougher non-conference opponents?
We could spend an inordinate amount of time talking about how scheduling works. Bottom line is if teams don't want to play you, you can't play them. And this is a human element. This isn't a computer. I want to play here, they want to play here, and it spits it back out. There are phone calls made, there's agreements made. And I got to be honest with you, no one wants to play St. Mary's. So they do the best they can with what they're allowed to do. Now, there are some things they can probably pursue, and maybe Randy can do that next year. But you put them up against half the teams in this field, they're winning based on being a pure basketball team.
And wins late in the season always carry more weight. If you beat somebody in non-conference, they'll say, it was early in the season. It doesn't count as much. But now let's talk about Cal. Okay, Cal is a 4th seed. They are in a tough region with the #1 overall seed, Kansas Jayhawks. They also have Miami, Maryland. Maryland would be their second-round opponent. How tough of a road to Houston is this?
It's a difficult road for them, but it's a road I think they can deal with considering how much talent they do have. And you look at this team with the 2 potential lottery picks in Jaylen Brown and Ivan Rabb, plus a senior point guard and Tyrone Wallace, Jabari Bird, Jordan Matthews. They have a lot of talent. When you look at this Cal team, I don't think they should have trouble in their first game against Hawaii. But in the second round against Maryland, they're 2 very similar teams, as which John Feinstein pointed out, because there's talent on both sides. I like Cal coming out to the Sweet 16 because I just think that playing on the West Coast, which they will in Spokane, and Maryland has underachieved, it seems, every year in the second round. So that'll be a big boost, I think, for Cal.
Jaylen didn't have a great Pac-12 tournament. And maybe, hopefully, for Kwanzaa and the guys, that gets the postseason jitters out. The only thing that can derail them is their youth. Their talent is undeniable. It's going to be on display. Shots have to go in. Shots can go in from a lot of different guys on that team, and if Ivan can get involved early in the possessions, early in the first 4 minutes, give the confidence for Jabari, for Tyrone and those guys, they can do some damage based on their talent. You hope that the youth doesn't hold them back from the bright lights and the big stage, but they're going to be on a big stage, as Roxy said, bigger than this. I think Kwanzaa does a phenomenal job, and really will kind of turn him loose a little bit. I think he did that at Tennessee with a similar type talent, athletic-wise. This is a whole nother level, and obviously here in the Bay Area, you're counting on them to carry the torch for it.
Yeah, youth can be a little bit scary this time of year. Oh, yeah, and Villanova is also the 2nd seed in that region. Okay, Pac-12 gets 7 teams in, and Oregon kind of a surprising #1 seed, at least to the rest of the nation. What do you think about the Pac-12? Getting a little bit of love from the committee.
Well, a #1 seed shows that,
a lot of love, actually.
That one of the 4 best teams in the tournament. And you can make arguments. When you get to the top 8, the 1s and 2s in the middle, the Michigan States, the Oregons, it's Villanova's, it's flip a coin. Oregon, I think, has unbelievable amount of talent as well. I watched them last week at the Pac-12 tournament. First time I seen them, obviously, in person. I was a little busy this year. They are unbelievably athletic, long, can shoot. If they can get an up-and-down game and get going, they got a legitimate chance to be in Houston.
That's one of the things that I think the committee did get right. with 7 Pac-12
Yeah.
teams and
Yeah.
Oregon being a 1. I think Sean Miller may have a gripe with Arizona being a 6. I felt they deserved a better seeding. But 7 Pac-12 teams getting in, and Oregon State, it wasn't even close. They were firmly in the field when they got a 7.
Yeah.
They're in a tough spot. I think Wichita State determined it tested backcourt and Van Vliet and Baker. 21-3 when healthy. Coming out of that first game they're playing, I think, tomorrow,
Yeah.
they need to get going. They don't need practice. Arizona faces Wichita State, could see an upset there.
Okay, I got to get your Final Four picks and who wins it all really quick.
I'm leaning toward Carolina at this point, although
Ah.
that's just without studying anything and looking at it. I like Kansas to get to the Final Four. I like Michigan State, and
Oregon?
I could go Oregon. Oregon or
They
Oklahoma.
let
That's
you
going to be
fill
a
out
good
10
game.
on ESPN.
I mean,
Fill out
you've
10
been-
different
you've
brackets.
been pounding
You're
Oregon.
good.
I'm going to be
So-
right with one of them.
You better go with Oregon
I'm going
after
to go
everything you
Kansas.
said.
My dad's a senior administrator
Yeah.
for basketball at KU, 13 years running, so rooting for the Jayhawks in my household now.
Okay.
Carolina, talent's going to win, and obviously at a high level, ACC, seemingly being one of the best conferences per the committee. Michigan State, love Tom Izzo, Denzel Valentine, seniors win in this tournament. And my sleeper pick, over another sleeper pick in the Elite
Okay.
Eight, Texas A&M over Baylor. Even though we love Oregon,
Whoa!
I kind of think
That was
Baylor's
a
the type
curveball right
Baylor's the
there.
type of team that if they get through the
All
early
right.
hiccups, can beat Oregon and Texas A&M to face Kansas in the Final
Good
Four. Kansas
stuff.
over Michigan State.
There you go. Appreciate the time, Coach. Thanks for coming
Thank
in.
you.
Thank you, Roxy. Thank you, Carrie.